Hello, my name is Megan Kohler. I'm a licensed professional counselor here in the Boise area. I have been lucky enough to be a part of Cathedral of the Rockies Mental Health Monday. I was so honored to be asked to participate in this. I've already recorded 2 videos. If you have not watched them, please do so. The first video I talked more about general mental health and the importance of nurturing it and taking care of yourself and addressing a few tools and tricks. And in my last video that I recorded last week, I deep dived into anxiety, which is one of my counseling specialties, and talked a lot about very specific tools and tricks to navigate stress and anxiety. I'm going to be just kind of referring to some of those things. I'm not going to be going into them quite as much. So I really do encourage you to go back and view those other 2 videos. I think it'll be pretty helpful if you haven't watched them. Some of the counseling specifics that I focus on in my practice, besides anxiety, are women and motherhood mental health issues. And so tonight I'm going to be talking very briefly, because these are really big topics, but very briefly I'm going to be talking about a few things that I'm noticing in my practice that I feel like are kind of heightened right now during this pandemic. So the first one for women in general, and mind you, these topics are going to be very general tonight. These topics related to women or those that identify as women are general. It doesn't mean men do not experience them as well, and it doesn't mean that all women experience them. So just to get that out of the way. The big thing that I'm noticing in my practice currently with just the majority of my clients are women, are a lot of body image issues right now. And I think it's because when you're stressed, you kind of latch on to things that are already struggles. And so women in general struggle a lot with body image issues. And I'm noticing it's really heightened right now with the pandemic. A lot of women are very stressed that they're going to gain weight while they are in quarantine. They're using food as a form of comfort, or maybe they're baking as a form of entertainment, and I think all those things are beautiful and fine, but there's this unique, very specifically unique pressure to maintain weight or lose weight or stay in shape when you aren't able to go to the gym. There's just like a palpable pressure in my practice amongst women really struggling and are very concerned about just their general state of their bodies. I work a lot with clients trying to promote body positivity, which is loving and appreciating your body at any size, any age, any ability. And so these are things that I work with women primarily, no matter if there's a pandemic or not. It's just heightened right now. I think that's an interesting thing to just be curious about and really look into. If weight loss or weight gain are things that you're experiencing during this time of stress, there may be just some natural consequences to extreme stress. And I don't necessarily think that's something that we should overanalyze or obsess over. Food is something that women can easily obsess over. Again, not all women and not just women, but it is something that I'm noticing. If you feel like you're struggling with food issues, maybe not anything that's super extreme that you would consider it a disordered eating, but you do feel like it's something that you're really concerned about, maybe it's something you're focusing more on right now, that would be something that you might want to explore. You might want to see a mental health professional about some of those issues. Stress is something that happens often when we are experiencing a pandemic, and I've noticed that a lot of women feel very out of control right now because they are unable to see their hairstylist. They are unable to maybe get some of the same spa treatments or procedures that they normally do. They are feeling a lot of stress. They're working from home and maybe they're doing a lot of Zoom calls and they're concerned about the lighting and how it all looks. It's something that I think is always stressful for women, but I think that this time right now where some of us are kind of practicing quarantine or staying inside and maybe aren't being as social, I see this as a really interesting opportunity to evaluate how much time and energy we place in our appearance, and if we genuinely enjoy that stuff, which I think is totally fine if you do, great. If you're relieved that you don't have to, let's say, get your hair dyed all the time or wear makeup, then maybe this is an opportunity to explore, why do you do it? Do you feel like you absolutely need to, and why? And that's going to bring me to this really big theme that I deal with a lot in my practice, and it's the concept of shoulds. I should do certain things. I should look a certain way. I should be handling this pandemic in a certain way. Essentially, when I hear clients shoulding all over themselves, and trust me, we have lots of jokes about that. My clients and I joke a lot about that. If you're shoulding all over yourself, then I hear that and I know it's anxiety, it's stress, it's fear, it's worry. And so if you're feeling like you should be handling this pandemic a certain way, or you should be upkeeping your appearance in a certain way, I invite you to explore those reasons why and maybe reassess to see if you can do something that maybe works for you a little bit better. So body positivity, just general body image and kind of hyper focus on appearance is something that I've noticed has really kind of heightened right now. Let's see. I think it's important to readdress your roles in your household if things are not working. So women have a tendency to wear a lot of hats, and right now with this pandemic, I feel like that balance of wearing those hats while you're located in one space at home can be really challenging to juggle. So maybe if you work outside the home, you're working inside the home now. If you take care of the house, you're having to still take care of the house. If your kids are normally at school, you're taking care of them too. And everything should be working in the exact same way that it was before, and that's just not possible. You will break. It is absolutely not possible. And so potentially reassessing some of these roles, reassessing the norms and the roles in your household with your partner, it may be something that absolutely needs to be done. And understanding that things might not always look the way that they used to. The focus may not be on certain things that were there before. I think it's going to require some flexible thinking in order to kind of get through and make this work. So I see a lot of women, and specifically mothers. I see a lot of postpartum women all the way through to just the various journeys of motherhood. And one thing that has been really challenging for moms has been the homeschooling aspect of parenting, working inside the home, kind of like what I mentioned before, just a lot of hats being worn, but then that additional hat besides mother and employee and keeper of the house. For a lot of women, the housework falls on their shoulders more so than their spouse or partner. Now they're also the teacher. And so I think that's been really something that I've heard from almost all my clients. The stress of that has been really intense. So I think it's important to kind of reevaluate some of the home education focus. I know we're kind of coming to a close. I haven't heard of a single mom that's sad about that school is coming to a close. But I do think it's important to find the rhythm of your household, maintain the overall health of every single person in the house. So are you able to keep a calm household, a safe household, and are you able to kind of create sort of a natural rhythm for everybody that seems to work? And I talked earlier about the shoulds, having so many kind of thoughts and feelings of what you should do. With motherhood, that is huge. Don't hold yourself to the same standard as somebody else that you know or somebody else you see online. It's important to do what works best for you as a mother with your children. Every single mom is different. Every single child is different. Every single household is different. As long as everybody is, maintaining their health and their happiness and all of that, and happiness, it kind of depends on the day or hour with your kids, I suppose. But as long as everything is kind of functioning, it doesn't have to look the same way as somebody else. So don't compare yourself to anybody else right now. I have ended all of my videos with some of these resources, and so I'm going to do the same. I have one different one that I think is important since we're talking about women and motherhood issues. But the first one I've talked about is psychologytoday.com. It's a fabulous website. You can go on, you can shop around and search for a mental health professional. Almost all of us are on there, and almost all of us are seeing clients online, so you can see somebody from the comfort and safety of your own home. The National Alliance for Mental Illness NAMI is a great website. They have free resources and lots of different videos, and it's all free and really easy to access. All online support groups, if you're in recovery, they're being conducted online. It's really, really helpful to make sure that you're staying healthy and prioritizing yourself. With motherhood comes a lot of extensions, like you are extending yourself, you are constantly helping others, and it's really important that you take care of yourself first so that you can help others, right? It's that kind of oxygen mask on the airplane. Make sure you put your own oxygen mask on first so that you can help everybody else in your household. That is so important right now. Self-care and making sure you're tending to your mental health is so important right now. So seeing a mental health professional, maintaining some type of sobriety or health when it comes to a support group. And then the other one that I wanted to mention specifically towards women and mothers is the Idaho Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence. There's definitely more partner violence currently when there's heightened stress and a lot of people shut in their homes. And statistically speaking, those that are being most impacted by this are women, although that is not always the case, but most people that are impacted by domestic violence are women. And so here in Idaho, if you go on to Idaho Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence, there's a ton of resources, lots of different phone numbers. They can walk you through it. They have free counselors there. I think it's really important that I mention that because it is something that impacts women significantly. You're welcome to go onto my website, kohlercounseling.com, and you can see some of the more specific things that I work with women and mothers. And you can contact me if you're curious about seeing a mental health practitioner that specializes in women's and mothers' mental health. Women are very diverse, so some of the things I touched on tonight are not going to resonate with you, and that's okay. But this is something that I'm noticing in my practice, some of the themes. Mothers are incredibly important to make sure that the world goes round and make sure that our households run smoothly and our children are taken care of. Fathers are incredibly important too. Remember, I'm just speaking about motherhood right now. But moms really need to take care of ourselves in order to make sure that we can nurture and care for others. So there's no need to martyr yourself. There's no shame in asking for help or needing help right now because it is stressful. The amount of hats that you're wearing, the stuff that you're juggling right now is intense. So there's no need to rationalize it. There's no need to dismiss it. There's no need to martyr yourself. Take care of yourself. You're important. You matter. And I also just want to give a shout out to Cathedral of the Rockies again for making this a focus. I think that's incredibly important and really, really wonderful. Again, if you have any questions, contact me. Otherwise, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this mental health focus.